Hi, my name is Erin. I am the admissions counselor here at Newlane, and I'm super happy you're joining us for this little campus tour. Of course, I'm using that phrase loosely. Newlane University is completely online. But in the next little bit, I want to give you a brief overview of Newlane, talk about our educational process, what makes us so different, and I want to show you what your experience would be like as a student. So the first thing to know about Newlane University is we are completely mission driven. Our mission is to make quality online liberal arts higher education accessible to anyone on earth by breaking down the barriers of cost, schedule, and geography. So the first part of the mission talks about quality. This is really important to us. Our courses are rigorous, the materials you use to learn are diverse, and the expectations are high. But keep in mind that the professors really work with you to help you succeed. It's a very encouraging and supportive educational process. But mostly today, I want to focus on the last part of our mission, how we are trying to remove barriers to help make college education more accessible. The first one, of course, that we hear the most is cost. But we believe that education should be available and accessible to every person on earth. So, this is from our manifesto. Along with our mission, it really guides every decision we make. And we really do believe that education belongs in the same category as shelter, clean water, and basic food. And we're trying to provide that. We're trying to make college super accessible. So, let's first talk about price. As I mentioned, that is the number one reason students give for not being able to complete their college degree. So the average college degree from a state university costs over $10,000 a year. That means for a four-year degree, you're paying $40,000. And from a private university, the cost goes way up from there. So that's just tuition. These prices are just tuition. It's not books and it's not living expenses, and it's also not fees, which have really grown in higher education a lot in the last several years. Newlane's cost per degree is $1,500. When you sign up, you will pay a registration fee of $249. And then every month you just pay $39. That's it. Every penny you pay goes towards that total $1,500 amount. And once you've reached that, you don't pay anymore. There are no fees. And there may be a book suggested occasionally, but it's usually something you get on Amazon or cheaply from a bookstore. So Newlane currently offers two degrees. We have our Associate of Arts in General Studies and then the Bachelor of Arts in Philosophies. If you come to us with an associate's degree, then you can start right away on your bachelor's classes. But if not, you'll start with the Associate of Arts. And you can take courses in a lot of different subjects: English, science like health, biology, psychology, astronomy. We have a bunch of history courses, art appreciation, political science, and European history. There's a course in communications, and then there are some philosophy courses, even at that associate level. And once you've earned that, you can go on to the bachelor's, which focuses on philosophy. You'll take courses in logic, epistemology, ethics, metaphysics, and then there are a bunch of courses on specific philosophers like Plato or Aristotle, Hannah Arendt. So you get to really deep dive on some of those philosophers. So let's talk about another major barrier in education, and that is the lack of flexibility. We think education should fit into a modern life, and that people with jobs and families and lots of responsibilities shouldn't be excluded from earning a degree. We don't want you to quit your life for 4 years in order to earn a college degree. We think education should be disconnected from a schedule. And you can see this in our admissions process. We have rolling enrollment, which means you can start anytime. You don't have to wait till the beginning of a term or a semester because we don't have those. So really you get to sign up and start learning anytime. And this is also reflected in our educational process. Newlane is self-paced. And this means that you set your own goals and deadlines for completion. There are counselors available to help you create and maintain a schedule, but ultimately it's up to you. You get to decide when and how often you study and how quickly you pass courses. So when you attended school, high school or secondary school, you were probably given assignments and tests, and each was graded. In the US, that probably would be a letter grade. And then all of those scores are totaled for a final grade in the class. And maybe you understood everything and you did really well, or maybe there were a few things you didn't quite grasp, but you still passed the class, right? This is not that. Newlane uses competency-based education. There are no grades given. You either pass, which means you've mastered the material, or you get a not yet, and you get a chance to go back, learn the things you don't understand, and try again. And here's why that is important. People learn at different rates, and often that rate is just determined by prior experience. So we think education should not have a prescribed completion time. The amount of time it takes to learn something shouldn't be decided beforehand. Some students can learn something in minutes that will take others days or years to learn. And because we're self-paced and competency-based, that gives you the freedom to take as much or as little time as you need to learn. So I'm going to jump out of the slideshow and I want to show you exactly what it looks like as a student. Here is my student dashboard. I'm going to start here at the dashboard. I'm enrolled in the Associate of Arts in General Study. And when I come to the dashboard, I can see announcements that have been made, if there's anything on the calendar. There's also some handy things up here at the top. I have here, I can go to tutorials, and there are lots of great videos on different things in Newlane. So when you have questions, it's a great resource. And I can contact us. I have access to the library, all those good things. So the courses on Newlane are all built the same way. So I'm going to jump into the orientation course. This is the very first one you'll take. It's about 20 minutes, and it just teaches you how to use Newlane. So when I come in here, I can see the course description, a video about it, short description, long description, and goals. This is what I'll be able to do when I've completed the course. And then I see the lessons. And each lesson has objectives tied to it. So if I click into a lesson, I can see different objectives. There are 2 here that I need to learn. List the 4 modules of the Newlane Learning Platform. And here's a YouTube video I can watch that will teach me that. Once I feel confident I can do this, then I mark it completed. And that's the first stage in Newlane. You work through each of these objectives and you pass them off. You ask yourself, do I know this? So you can see now that I've passed off that objective. There are lots that I haven't passed off. So I'll just keep working through all of them and pass off all these objectives. And when I'm done with that, I want to show you the next step. I'm going to jump into the Keys to College Success course. So I have self-assessed 93%, almost all the objectives. And if I go through, I can click off, describe the role of a counselor in Newlane, read about it, and mark it completed. So once I've done all of that, the next step is to take a test. Once I've been through every lesson, every objective, then I get to take a course exam, and I can take it as many times as I want. It's a really great study tool that will make sure you really know the material. I'll be asked questions about every objective. And once I get 100% on that course, then I can move on to the project. So let me show you what a project looks like in a different course. Let's jump into health here. Okay, so I passed the exam. I took it several times. That's okay. And then I am ready to submit my project. And here's the description of the project. And I can be working on this all throughout the course, or I can finish, up to this point and then jump into it however I want to do it. This particular project is to write a paper about one of the topics we've learned about. So I'll submit the project, and then a professor looks over it, gives me feedback, tells me if there are things I need to fix, or tells me if I've passed. And once I pass that project, then I can schedule a course hearing. And what a course hearing is, that is the very last step in passing a course. It's just an oral exam where the course professor will ask you questions about the course, about all the objectives, and you get to pass those off. So the professor will focus on the goals of the course that are here and also any other objectives. And let's say I don't pass the course hearing. That's okay. The professor will give me feedback. I'll go back and study a little more, and then I can do that course hearing again until I pass. That's the competency based. So you'll notice on here, no grades are given anywhere. You pass things or there's a not yet. So that's just a little bit what the platform looks like. You can see there are lots of ways to help you know what kind of progress you're making. You can see the progress you're making in each lesson, in each course. And if I go back here to Associate of Arts, I can even see how much of the degree I've completed. Okay, so 15% of the entire degree. So there are lots of visual clues to help you make goals and to progress. So what's the first step to get started with Newlane? That is just to fill out an application. You can see that on our website, and it will give you some information about it. We'll ask a few simple questions and what degree you're interested in. And then someone will reach out to you. And at any time, if you have any questions or want more information, you can go to the chat box on our website right here. And if you go to the bottom, you see our contact information, email address, telephone. You can give us a call or reach out to us that way. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour. I hope you let us know what questions you have or what else you'd like to see. Have a great day.